My name is Clayton, and welcome to episode 116 of the Watch Dog podcast. I'm a professional dog runner and watch enthusiast talking to his pals about dogs and watches. How's everyone doing? Thank you so much for listening. You know I appreciate it. Well, I promised you a guest, and I promised you a watch-heavy episode, and we plan to deliver. Here he is, my friend Keith. Keith, how are you, sir? Thank you for joining me.
I am well. Thanks for having me again.
Yes, of course.
I'm breaking records here, I think.
You know what I think, and let me know if you're open to this. I think the first episode of every month, you should just be on. And I wish I could pay you for that.
Yeah, I also wish that.
Well, if you wanted to be like partners on the podcast, it would mean just splitting all the costs it takes. So I'm not sure you want that either.
Yeah, I'm good.
So how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. We were talking a little before the show that I went out to lunch today, a work lunch, and somehow it came up I was into watches, and someone else there, contact I have at a vendor, he's like, "Oh, I've been looking into watches," and I'm just, "What are you looking at?" Lay it on me. And he's
Yes.
like, "Oh, I've been looking at a Grand Seiko." I'm like, "Oh my gosh,
Wow.
what are the chances?" He says Grand Seiko. So we had some Grand Seiko talk today, which was fun.
Well, I think you just found your new favorite coworker.
Yeah, I've noticed he always wears the same watch. I wish I could remember the brand name, but I can't. But it's a micro brand that's no longer in business, and I think the watch is about 10 years old. So this would be quite the upgrade if he were to go for a Grand Seiko. But I said, keep me updated. Let me know how it's going.
I always wonder, how much do people appreciate the jump up in quality? Do they at all? Like my wife, I asked her about, the Tudor, and if she noticed a jump in quality from the Timexes she wears, and she was like, not really. Some people just don't. She does not interact with the watch yet. She's not there yet. She doesn't want to wind it. If it's not running, she won't wear it. She's afraid to. I think people are just, that screw down crown trips people up.
Yeah.
That's really what
Actually,
she's afraid of. So
the guy I was talking to today said he was looking at quartz because he didn't want to have to set the watch. So understandable.
Yeah, that's just the difference again between us and them. Like there's a podcast I listen to called the Loom Plotters. I don't know if you listen to those guys. It's a pretty good watch podcast. A lot of talk that's not related to watches. They go off on tangents like we do, like everybody does. I like their tangents. I know they get complaints about it because they bring it up in the podcast, but I kind of like their tangents. But anyway, they were saying like that's the point, right? That's why we're into automatic watches, so we can interact with them and wind them. And yeah, some people just don't want that fuss. So
Yeah. When like today, I got up, I went to work. Whenever that happens, I wear like a Citizen dress watch to work normally, which is never set because I go to work for 2 days and then I don't go to work again until, the next week. And, I get to my desk in the day. It's not set yet. I take a little time to set my watch on the company dime, I guess, the 10 cents that it cost the company for me to set my watch, but it's I don't mind it at all. Yeah, I like setting it. I always, I don't know what you're like, how you set your watches, but I always pull up like time.gov and set it exactly.
yeah.
Even though I know it's going to be off at some point anyways, but I always stop the seconds hand and set it exactly.
Yeah. Oh, me too. And my wife even said that when I recorded with her that she doesn't care about that at all. She doesn't care. She couldn't care less. She thinks it's ridiculous that I said it like that. It's more of a jewelry item for her, I guess. Yeah. And it is for me too. But yeah, I do like the time to be dead on. What I find even more annoying is I have a rotation of 6 work watches, and they're all, one's like a Timex Digital, G-Shocks. The rest of them are G-Shocks and a Casio. I find it more annoying to set that than I do to actually wind an automatic. Yeah. And where I keep my watches, like I have a couple with multiband 6, and they just do not get the signal up where I keep them. So if I put them on my kitchen counter facing the direction of Fort Collins, Colorado, they get it. But my wife would never let me keep my watches there. So I do during that week when I'm wearing that one. But otherwise, they after a month or so, they get about 15 or 20 seconds behind.
So you look at it each month and reset it?
I do, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I like it to be dead on, so I do, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I know I promised a lot of watch talk, but I have a couple updates pertaining to the Oura Ring episode I did last week. I had a gentleman comment on the YouTube version of the podcast that goes to YouTube, and he pointed out a couple things that I did not mention in last week's episode. The first is if you'd rather not deal with Amazon and buy that sizing kit, which is important. You want to buy the right size ring. He said that there are rings that you can size at like Best Buy, Target, Walmart, I believe. So if you'd rather do that and not pay for the sizing kit, just go there. They have samples. You can find your perfect size and then buy your ring. So I think that's a little bit better than ordering that sizing kit. I don't like to go anywhere. So Amazon is way more convenient for me. I'm terrible. I need deodorant. Order it on Amazon. I hate going to the store. I'm really lazy.
Yeah, I mean, where I live, I'm like 5 minutes from many stores, so maybe it's a little different for you.
No, literally a minute from CVS.
Oh, okay.
I'm horrible. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know what's happened to me. Convenience has gotten the best of me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, today I was going to go out and buy shoelaces, and I was like, nah, I guess I'll get it on Amazon.
Yeah. And then the other thing, I said that I was deciding between Ultra Human and Oura. And I talked a lot about Ultra Human. Well, a big announcement happened in the last couple days. Oura actually won a lawsuit against Ultra Human. And the results take effect in October. So it looks like they sued Ultra Human. Oura did. Oura sued Ultra Human in a patent dispute, and they won. Ultra Human and another company, Ringcon, won't be allowed to sell, import, or market their current smart ring offerings after October 21st. So I think you can buy them up until then, and I don't think it'll affect the service in any way, but then the current generation of the Ultra Human Air will not be allowed to be sold in the United States anymore. And I think they are suing Oura in other countries like India. So it's getting a little ugly. I think like Apple and Samsung had these lawsuits going back and forth years ago. I don't know if they still do, but they did. So Ultra Human in the meantime is working on a new ring that won't have these issues with the patents, I believe. And I think they're trying to rush that to the market. So yes, another thing to keep in mind if you are shopping Oura rings and Ultra Human rings, I don't know. May not want to go with Ultra Human right now just because they lost this suit. Maybe Oura is the better bet. But again, I'm unsponsored.
Yeah, for me, who hasn't looked into this at all, I just know the brand Oura. I just have heard it a lot, so I would probably just immediately go with them.
Yeah. I agree, but yeah, like I said, so many reviewers preferred Ultra Human, and the guy who commented on the YouTube version of the podcast, he has the Ultra Human, and he said the battery life is much more poor than on the Oura Ring. He said he doesn't get near 7 or 8 days like I get on this, so that's just another thing to keep in mind. But he has not had any of the glitches. He said that's worked beautifully, but battery life is not as good as Oura. So do you want to get into the mini topic before we get into the main topic tonight?
Sure, let's do it.
All right. So I've been lucky enough to just see a watch and buy it for the most part. Or even if I do like a pre-order, I don't save money per se. I'll just keep in mind like, okay, a certain amount has to go. Like the Nomos. I knew it was coming a few months after I committed to buying it. I didn't really save that money or put it aside. I just kind of earmarked it, I guess. But I'm getting to the point now where we have so many other expenses in life. We're going to paint the house. We have other projects we want to do with the house and the yard. And I'm thinking maybe for the first time ever to actually set a goal, set a certain amount aside every month for a watch. And that probably means if I want to buy nice, expensive watches, that maybe I only buy 1 or 2 a year. And also if I get distracted and buy, a shiny object, a G-Shock, or if something else comes up, and I do have like 3 or 4 gold watches that I'm really interested in buying and really kind of committed to buying. Yeah, if something comes up like a micro brand or, something where I get distracted, that means, my goal doesn't happen for an even longer period of time. Do you set goals with your watch buying? I know you don't really buy a ton of watches, but I don't know. Do you think I can do this?
Well, there's two questions there. One, do I think you could do it?
No.
And two, do I set goals? So I'll start with, do I think you can do it? I think sometimes you get, an AD, let's say a Toppers, or
Right.
I think you work with a Seiko AD, will reach out to you and say, Clayton, we got this. We got this Doxa sub 300. We got this Jaws
Yeah.
Seiko turtle, and you're gonna you have to be strong. How do you feel about those situations?
Yeah, that's it. But it's all going to come out of that goal fund, I think. So it's to my detriment. So I know I definitely am susceptible to those. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, I don't set specific goals. I go but based on feel, which is probably not the best way to go about it. But I will say that the more expensive the watch, the more time I let myself think about it. I don't have like a defined, if it's this much, I have to wait this long. But like, for example, I recently tried on the Breitling Super Ocean Heritage, the new one, the 40 millimeters. Man, does that fit like a glove? It looks great. But because it's so pricey, I do have to, I make myself wait a while to really think that over. And most of the time, I move on to a different watch, which tells me that maybe that watch wasn't meant to be. But yeah, if it's like, I don't know, let's say Laurier comes out with this like amazing limited edition that's $500 or $600. Obviously, I don't have to think about that as long as other watches. So that's the kind of barometer I use, which is, there's no defined. So you're gonna have like a defined amount per month, and if you want this watch, you have to wait this long.
Basically. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep.
No, I don't know how much I'm going to set aside per month just yet. But yeah, I mean, I have a good nest egg started, but I don't want to commit so much to watches every single month. I mean, I don't know. But then the less I put, the longer it will take me. Okay, so I started the podcast up again June 16th. That was sort of my goal date. Whatever money I have, I will buy one of the watches, and I'll be around the goal. So my goal watches are all about 8,000-ish. Okay. If I can get a pre-owned, which I'm probably going to in all instances. The GP Orion 1966 with the Aventurine dial, a Reverso of some sort, 8 to 10,000. We can play around with it. That Creedor. So I think those are the three goal watches right now. And then maybe something else will come up. It'll be after Watches and Wonders. So sometimes I get excited by a Watches and Wonders release. So I don't know. I probably have to do like 500 a month or something. Because I already have a little bit in that account. So that'll get me there.
I think this would be fun to track on the podcast.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. How long will it take for a distraction watch to come up?
Yeah, I was wondering, what watches you were looking at, because I'm like, if this is like a new Moser, this is going to take a long time.
No. I don't know if I'll ever spend more than 10,000 again on a watch. I don't know. It's just, I don't really need a watch that expensive, honestly. Why am I doing that at a certain point,
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, my tastes for watches, and this is something I was going to bring up in our main topic, is just, I look at Rolex on down. I don't really care about watches that are more expensive than that. And sometimes I have like interest to learn about it sometimes.
Yeah.
But mostly, as long as it's Rolex on down, it has my attention a lot more.
Yeah. I mean, I had the Moser. I'm very proud that I was able to own that. And I don't know. I do lust after dress watches, and very nice, expensive ones. But again, maybe that's just something I don't have to own. Maybe that's something I can admire from afar. Like, we don't have to own every single thing we like. Right. I mean, it just gets way too expensive, and it's not always practical. And I'm not somebody who just likes to own things. I'm a wearer more than an owner. Some people are very happy just owning a bunch of things and never really wearing them. I'm not like that, and I know myself. And the hobby is much more enjoyable if I have watches I wear regularly. Which is why I don't think I'm very stressed out ever, because I wear all my watches. So that's all I need, I guess. It only took 6-7 years to find out.
Hey, it happened.
Yeah, it happened finally. So yeah, gold collecting. We watched that Longines video where the young guy saved up money for the what was it, the Hydro Conquest GMT.
Yep.
I wanted to see if he could commit to a goal. That watch is about what, $3,000, and he saved
Hmm.
up and he bought it. And it took some
Yeah, I
time,
think
but
he
he
said
did
it
it.
took him 6 months to
Yeah,
save up for that.
yeah, which is awesome. I
Yeah,
want to see if I could do something like that.
awesome. Yeah,
So
I
yeah,
have faith.
regular updates, regular updates. All right,
Yep.
before we get into today's really fun topic, what are you wearing tonight?
Oh, I'm wearing the Raven Vintage Gold.
Oh, that watch is
It
cool.
it let me check the back of it. I forget how many they made. I want to say they made 150 in the full gold and 50 in two-tone. Obviously, when I say gold, I mean gold toned. Um, it's a dive watch. Let's see. Oh, this is 266 out of 300. So maybe it's 150 of each and 150 of another. But anyways, I happen to see this. I don't know if I've talked about this on the podcast, but when this watch was first released, I had interest in it. And what happened was they had some in stock for a long time. I talked to the Raven owner at one of the windups, and they had them in stock for a long time. And then James Stacy wrote an article on Hodinky about it, and then they immediately sold all of them. And I said, "Oh, are you going to come out with more?" And he said, "No, that's it." They sat around for a while. You got the good graces of an article. Let's get rid of them and move on to something else.
Right.
So, yeah, this ended up coming up for sale. They were sold out. I didn't have one. A couple of years later, this went up for sale. And a watch friend of mine remembered that I was into this watch and alerted me, helped me with the transaction because it was in a Slack group that I'm not in. And here it is on my wrist. It's a 39 millimeter. It fits me perfect. It's a large wearing 39 millimeter, but not too large. I think my problem with when I'm finding out with the Longines Spirit Zulu is it might be a little too large 39, but I'll have to go and try it on again. But yeah, this fits well and looks good, and it's a wild card in my collection. Like I mainly wear two Seikos and a Grand Seiko, and this when I get sick of those, I'll throw this on. It's gold. It just looks different. So yeah, so far so good.
It's a very un-Keithy watch,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think, which I
yeah.
love.
I agree.
I'm always for something a little loud, something a little different. So yeah, I actually love that you own that watch.
Yeah, I've always had interest in gold watches, so I wanted to try one out. That didn't cost me, however much an actual gold watch would cost. Um, so yeah, I love it.
Yeah, so the Zulu, do you mind when watches overhang? Because it looks good on you otherwise, it just overhangs a little bit.
Yeah, I do mind it.
You do mind? Yeah.
It's probably the largest wearing 39 millimeter watch I've ever tried on, besides maybe an Explorer. Um, so, and it doesn't. The male end licks don't help on that at all either. So I'm thinking it over. There might be other watches to get, so we'll see.
It's a shame because I know you love that watch.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, what a bummer. Maybe they'll come out with will they go any smaller, you think?
I'm guessing no.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, look at the Hydro Conquest GMT. It's what, 43 and 41. I think
Yeah.
that's all they have.
Yeah.
So the fact that there's even a 39 is a miracle in
Yeah.
itself.
Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah. 37 is kind of small for a GMT, really.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Bummer. Maybe 38 someday.
Or maybe I'll go and try it on again and feel differently. Who knows?
Yeah. If you like the watch and you can live with the overhanging, then hey, it's for you. So
Yeah, it would work better on a strap, but we'll see.
yeah. I'm wearing the Seiko SNR 045 with the spring drive, the beautiful green dial that emulates a forest in the Antarctic Ocean on the bottom of the ocean, actually, like
Interesting.
trees that look like Christmas trees, actually, on the bottom of the ocean. So it's a really beautiful watch. It is my favorite Seiko still, I think. I just love wearing it. It puts a smile on my face. It's light, too. I went to a watch meetup this past Saturday with some local guys, and one of the guys, my buddy Steve, he is a Seikopath to the core. He was actually on Collector Conversations with Tim Masso.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Steve Santiago, cool guy. He loves Seiko, and he wanted to see this watch. We didn't get together for a while when I had it, and we've gotten together twice now. And he tries to, I don't know. He's like, I love it. I don't want to give it back. But no, it's he's not a big titanium fan though. So as much as he loves it, I think he thinks it's a little too light, and it's so funny because it is such a chunker of a watch. It's basically like a Marine Master except light, which is I love that about it.
Light titanium watch,
right? Yeah, I mean it feels more toy like than a Pelagos, I think. Yep, for sure. Than the FXD. The FXD, even though it has no bracelet, even on strap, it does have some heft to it. It's definitely not as light as some titanium watches, that's for sure. Obviously, titanium quartz watches really feel like toys. So with the spring drive movement and it being a little thicker, does have some weight, but it for a big watch, I mean, I just wear it and forget I'm wearing it sometimes. So, all right. So should we get into the main topic?
Yep.
Okay.
Let's do it.
All right. So I think we got our signals crossed a little bit. Keith and I have been talking about music a lot since Ozzy died, I think. And we've always kind of have, because we're both Metallica fans and we both like hard rock and probably like a bunch of similar bands.
Yeah. I'm questioning that. We're both big Metallica fans.
Yep.
We both like Ozzy and Black Sabbath. That might be the only crossover, but maybe there's something we haven't.
Okay,
we haven't found yet.
Well, let's dive into this a little bit. So, what other bands do you listen to? Are you into punk?
Yeah. I'm a big like emo, punk.
Okay, we definitely don't like the
guy.
same. Okay, yeah. I dated a girl in college who was big into indie, and at that time it was like Death Cab for Cutie, emo stuff.
I love Death Cab for Cutie.
Modest Mouse, Postal Service. Isn't that like the same guy as Death Cab? Yep. Are they related?
I actually last year I saw Death Cab play with the Postal Service, which is interesting to say because the singer's the same.
Yeah, that's right.
They were both touring on albums that came out 20 years ago. And so fantastic. I love both those bands.
Yeah, so I am familiar with that stuff. I liked some of that. There's a few Modest Mouse songs I liked. Oh, there were other bands too. How about Radiohead? How do you feel about Radiohead?
Yeah, I never got into Radiohead.
Okay, thank you. I don't get it. People love them, and I would never say a band sucks because that's just, to my ears, it's just not, I don't enjoy it, but that doesn't mean they're bad. There are plenty of bands I like that people don't like at all. So, but yeah, I don't know. I don't get, the vocals sound like wailing to me. I don't know. But that same girl, her and her roommate were like Radiohead mega fans, and I would just be like, I don't know. To me, it just sounds like noise.
Right. Yeah, so I have my two favorite bands, which I won't say because we'll get into them in the topic. But yeah, everyone who knows me knows I'm obsessed with these two bands. But we'll get into that.
It's interesting that Metallica came into your life then, because you love Ozzy and Metallica, but no other hard rock.
That started first.
Okay.
Yeah. So when Metallica came out with Load, that's the first time I had heard of them.
Okay.
I was in 6th grade. So I got Load, and then I got all the other Metallica albums that were out at that time, and just loved them. Yeah. And then Metallica is what got me into Ozzy and Black Sabbath as well. And then after that, it was more like the alternative bands. Like I remember being into like Soundgarden and Bush and stuff, which I don't really listen to anymore. I got really into the Smashing Pumpkins, which I still appreciate a lot, that band. And then I got into the bands I'll talk about today, and then it kind of took off from there. So
yeah, it is funny how we get into bands at different stages. I think you like Load probably more than I do, even though I like Load a lot. But that was your first. That's how you got into Metallica.
Yeah. Whereas
I had been into their older stuff as a kid, and Load was like, what? What they do to their hair? Yeah. It was odd for me, but Load is one of my favorites now. I really do like it. It took me a long time to warm up to it though. But for instance, I was never really into Pearl Jam, didn't really get it. And then my buddy, I think in 2008, took me to a Pearl Jam show, and ever since then I've been a mega fan, because seeing them live just made me appreciate them on a whole new level. And then I dove into their back catalog and all their albums, and now they're one of my favorite bands. But it took seeing them live. They're hands down my favorite live band, and I've seen a lot
What
of.
was the last time you've seen him live?
Oh, I think it's been a few years now.
Mm.
Oh gosh, it may have been since the pandemic. I don't know if I've seen them. Last time they played, they did 2 nights at Fenway, and I went to both.
Okay.
And that was the last time. I had a good buddy who was in the fan club, and he always took me. So
Yeah, my brother does the same thing.
Yep.
My brother's two favorite bands are Dave Matthews Band and Pearl Jam.
Yep.
So he's constantly sees both those bands, and my cousin is one in the Pearl Jam fan club, so they usually get
Yep.
good seats. But yeah, he recently saw them. I think last year he saw at least once at Wrigley.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I would love to see them at Wrigley. That must be amazing. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's really fun to see them at Fenway Park. I've seen quite a few shows at Fenway. I've seen my wife's from New Jersey, so she's a Springsteen fan. So we've seen him at Fenway. We were on the field. That was really cool. I saw the Foo Fighters there. I was actually in a suite for that one, which is really pretty cool. My friend's company got a suite, and he invited me. So that's really a nice way to see a show. Bathrooms, bathrooms right there. Unlimited food and drink that you don't have to pay for. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, Foo Fighters, one of those bands I definitely got into them most during the Color and the Shape album.
Yeah.
But that was the first ever band T-shirt I ever bought was the Foo Fighters.
Cool.
So they have a special place for me. Although I have a bad memory with that. So I was on the bus. You know, this is before the internet. Maybe you catch them on MTV. I didn't know what was going on. I was in 6th grade, and someone said, "Oh, who the person who's in Foo Fighters? What band was he in previously?" And I didn't know.
Oh,
I'm still feel ashamed about it to this day. So,
we'll assume you know what band he was in. Yeah, I mean they're one of those bands where they're one of those bands where I don't love them, but you know all the songs like through osmosis or something. They just know the words, and they were really entertaining. My favorite part of that was, and then we'll get to the main topic. Taylor Hawkins was still alive when I saw them, and he was really amazing. So this band, the Struts, opened for them, and the lead singer of the Struts sounds and looks a lot like Freddie Mercury. So they would do, after the Struts would open, and then during the Foo Fighters show, they would do Under Pressure. And Lucas Spiller, I think is his name, from the Struts, he would do the Freddie part, and then Taylor Hawkins would do the David Bowie part. It was really amazing. All right, so let's get into the topic. So yes, we've been talking about music a lot. So we thought it might be fun to have different categories of songs and see how they compare to our favorite watches. Why don't you explain this? This was your topic, so why don't you explain it a little bit more?
Yeah, well, this is a topic I thought was your topic until I realized I misunderstood what you said. But basically,
I like this one more.
I have a song and I'm relating it to a watch. And the listeners will see what we mean when we start the first one. Like, how can a song relate to a watch? But it was a fun exercise, and we'll see how it goes. Do you want me to start with my first one?
Yes, please.
Okay. I'm going to start with one of my two favorite bands of all time. If anyone sees me comment on YouTube, it's actually the logo of this band is the logo I use on YouTube. But the band is Alkaline Trio. They're a punk band from Chicago, and it seems like anyone who was listening to punk music and growing up around the time that I was that lives in this area loves Alkaline Trio. It's just like it's like it was almost the law at one point because they're from here, even though neither member has lived here for a long time. Actually, one of the singers is from just a few towns over from where I am, and they just came out with their new song, Oblivion. They're about to go on tour with my other favorite band, actually. We'll get to what that band is. And so they released this song, Oblivion. It's produced by Travis Barker of Blink-182. And I'll just give it away. My other favorite band, Blink-182. Okay. So they're going on tour together. Matt Skiba of Alkaline Trio was in Blink-182 when Tom DeLonge left the band, and they made 2 albums. that's an underrated era of Blink-182 because I love Matt Skiba, I love Blink-182. It actually, the album California is really great, and there's some great songs on Nine as well. But yeah, Alkaline Trio, Travis Barker has combined forces to make what seemed to be initial 3 songs, and now it seems like they're making a full album. But they released this song Oblivion before the tour, just so they have something new to play. And this is just an example of a band that's been around for a long time. You know, Alkaline Trio's first album came out in like '98, I believe. They've been around for a long time, and they're still producing great songs. It's a great song. Alkaline Trio's last album is also one of their best, in my opinion. So as it relates to watches, Seiko, my favorite brand, has just announced a release of a great I almost said a great song, of a great watch. And Seiko has released so many watches. There's have so many out there. It's like, what can they possibly do to get your interest at this point? But I believe now they have just been announced, so there's not even YouTube videos on them really, except for one. But the new Seiko Speed Timer, it's the 3-hander. It's not a chronograph. It's a 3-hander with a countdown bezel. It has like orange accents. I don't know how else to describe it visually, but if you look up SPB 515 and 513, it's just, yeah, an example of a long established brand still coming out with great watches to relate to Alkaline Trio coming out with Oblivion. So I'm excited to see more about this watch. I saw Big E from Watch Once Over YouTube channel just posted he got some. He's usually very quick with the Seiko watches because he works with Arizona. I mean, his channel is basically Arizona Fine Time commercial.
Right.
But yeah, he announced that he said on YouTube that he has them in, so he's going to do a video soon. But yeah, that's my first song pairing with a watch.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, that channel, he always comes up. Even when I was researching the SNR 045, a video of his came up. He's like the new Random Rob in a way. Whenever I type in a watch, Big E always comes up, it seems.
Yeah, very similar channels for sure.
Yeah. I don't know Alkaline Trio. I know of them, but I'll have to dig in. This is going to introduce me to some new music. I'm excited about this. Where should I start? What's a good starting point to get into Alkaline Trio? At the beginning or midway?
You know, I recommend starting with the new song, Oblivion.
Okay.
See what you think.
Cool. I will.
It sounds very Alkaline Trio-ish. It's a good song. I think it's a good starting point.
Okay, cool. All right, so I'm going to start with, all right, we all know those songs that we've heard a bazillion times, right? Hotel California, Rock and Roll All Night, Sweet Home Alabama, even Enter Sandman. Last year when we saw Metallica here at Gillette Stadium, we left when they played Enter Sandman so we could beat traffic and get the hell out of there. And when you hear these songs and maybe you have no control of the radio or you have no control over what song is being played and you actually sit and listen to it, boy, like this Hotel California is an amazing song. Joel Walsh's guitar solo is among one of the best of all time. If I'm forced to listen to it, I can sit there and appreciate it. Enter Sandman, what a riff. You know, what an amazing riff. Even a song like Rock and Roll All Night, like, it is kind of fun, but I don't know how much I like it. But if it comes on and I do have control to switch songs, I'll switch 100 times out of 100. If I never hear Rock and Roll All Night again, that will be too soon. It's played out. Yeah. It's completely played out. Now, there are reasons why radio stations play the same songs over and over, because I think if you listen for a 4 or 5 hour span, you're going to hear maybe the same 12 to 15 songs. And I feel like they just keep that on a loop. And there is scientific study as to why they do that. It's to attract listeners. Listeners are comfortable with things they know. And they're more likely to keep it on that radio station if they think they're going to hear something they know than something oddball and obscure, like a deep track, like I would like to hear.
Right.
Something.
That's why I don't listen to the radio.
That's right. Right. Yeah. I would rather hear a deep track from Aerosmith versus Walk This Way for the millionth time. You know, I'd rather hear something like off of Done with Mirrors or something really obscure. And, you know, watch YouTubers have a way of doing this as well, right? Covering the same watches because it seems to get the clicks. The BB-58, the Black Bay 58. I know I just did a podcast on the Black Bay 54, but to me, the Black Bay 58 is one of the most played out watches. If a video comes up on it, I know Britt just did one, the 5-year anniversary of her owning it, look back, didn't watch it. Don't care.
I think Teddy just came out the same exact video, the same exact watch. Yeah.
Yep, don't care, will not watch it. It's a played out watch to me. If I see anything on it, articles, videos, instant skip. I will not watch them. I've owned many different versions of the Black Bay 58. It's so good, it's boring. It just does not last long. I will never buy another one, and I really don't want to hear any more content on it whatsoever. So, like a played out song, like Hotel California, if that comes on the radio and I do have control of the dial, I'm going to skip it every time. Same thing with Black Bay 58 videos. I'm going to skip those every time.
Mm-hmm.
It's a watch you like, I know, and you have not owned one. So maybe you're a little more interested.
I like the one specific one. I like the Black Bay 58. But the other ones aren't my jam.
The blue is, I don't know. I don't love the blue. And same with the Tudor blue, I don't always love. I don't like the blue on the FXD either. The only blue I like that they do is the braceleted Pelagos 42. I think that's a nice blue. But I don't know. I don't really find those blues too attractive like on the Black Bay 58. I don't know. It doesn't do much for me. I did like the silver. I own that one. I like the bronze. I owned that one. I owned the original a couple times, but I don't know. I am over that watch.
Mm-hmm. Well, if I could jump to my next song.
All right, do it.
It's kind of relates to what you were talking about. But at least we'll get into it. But this is an interesting one. So I'm picking Sabrina Carpenter's Espresso.
Oh, I know that song actually.
You know that song?
Yes,
okay.
I do.
So I know Sabrina Carpenter because I'm a huge Boy Meets World fan, and she was on a show called Girl Meets World like a few years ago, which is probably She was. That's the first time I ever heard of her. She was the best friend of the main character, and here we are now. Where I think it's like 8 or 9 albums later, she is now blown up for this huge artist. So nothing against her personally. I think Espresso is just bland. It's not offensive. It's not great to listen to either. It's just kind of bland to me. And I think a lot of Sabrina Carpenter songs feel that way. Like I could think of other people who are popular right now who are kind of in the same category, who have much more interesting songs. So I don't necessarily get the popularity of Sabrina Carpenter, which I'm going to relate it to a watch. I am actually picking Tudor. Specifically, I was going back and forth on which one because so many of Tudor's watches can fit in this category, unfortunately. I'm going to pick the Tudor or the Black Bay 68.
Okay.
Which was announced this year. It's the 43 millimeter version of Black Bay Diver. And it just seems so bland to me. Like no creativity went into designing these watches. There's a blue dial, there's a silver dial, I believe. And it does nothing. And I feel bad, first of all, because someone in the comments on Watch Soup always says that they're wearing this. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yes.
So sorry to that person if they're also Watchdog podcast fans. I don't get it. I don't get why someone would want this watch. There's so many more interesting watches to buy, just like there's so many other interesting songs to listen to.
Maybe because it's safe and people feel with spending that much money, kind of like we were talking about why radio stations play the same songs over and over again. There's that comfort in knowing what you're wearing and knowing what you like. And sometimes that's why. So Sabrina Carpenter, I saw an episode of Hot Ones that she was on, and I had never heard of this person. And you're old. I know I'm old all the time, constantly reminded because I have never heard of the person who's on Hot Ones. I'm like,
really?
if they're big
Okay.
enough to be on Hot Ones, they're probably famous, and that means I'm old. So
Yeah.
I looked her up on Spotify, and I was shocked to see she was like the third most popular artist on Spotify of everyone. And I was like, holy crap, I'm really out of touch. And then I don't know if I listened to any of her songs, but then when I was researching the Lions Breitling Chronomat B01, I saw a short, and her song Taste was playing on that short. And I was like,
really?
I
Okay.
kind of like this song. So I actually do
Okay.
kind of like Taste by Sabrina Carpenter. I can't believe
Okay.
it, but maybe she could fit into my guilty pleasures
Yeah.
category. But it's not a bad song. I don't like Espresso that much, but I do like that song Taste. The lyrics are kind of raunchy a little bit, which I'm always into. So, but yeah, so I guess that's my Sabrina Carpenter story. But yeah, that's Tudor. I thought I was done with Tudor until I knew my wife would like the Lagoon Blue BB54. But man, they're another, like I said, the Black Bay 58. I'm over it. I'm pretty much over Tudor except for, I guess, this watch that she's basically commandeered for me. I'm not going to wear it too much, and that's fine. Like I said in the episode, I really want her to wear it.
Yeah, I always think I'm over the Black Bay 58, and then I find myself looking at it again, and it's been like that since 2018. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, I agree.
All right. So I guess I'll go next. I hope this is working. I think it is. It's fun to do anyway. May not be fun to listen to, but it's fun to do. All right. So guilty pleasures. I'm going guilty pleasures. 80s love songs. I think they're nostalgic for me, but like cheesy, sappy ballads by like Richard Marx, those Endless Summer Nights, Roxette, all these songs. I could go on and on and on. I love that stuff. I will put it on Spotify. I'll put it on Pandora. My wife loves to listen to that stuff. We'll put it in the kitchen when we're making dinner. We have the new Echo Show, which is like a TV now. Alexa has come a long way. She's going to go off now. Darn. She heard me say her name. So we'll put on this cheesy 80s stuff. We saw Richard Marx in concert last summer. Do you even know who Richard Marx is?
No.
Okay. Yeah. He's actually written a lot of hits for other people too. Pretty prolific songwriter, but he had a string of hits in the 80s and early 90s. There's a song called Hazard that I remember MTV big premiere of Richard Marx Hazard, the video. It's like almost like a true crime video. The whole song is about getting framed for a murder he didn't commit. And so it was like, it would fit in nicely now. But so I remember that video, and I think it came out in like 91 or 92. So I was 13, I think. And I remember that. And Marissa loves that song. My wife loves that song. So that would probably be my guilty pleasure. As someone who prides himself on liking hard rock and metal, I am not afraid to rock out to a lot of that stuff. So dress watches, I think, are my guilty pleasure. I was going to say a few different things, but I don't know. It doesn't really fit my lifestyle yet for whatever reason. I don't know. I like the way it looks where I'm maybe dressed like a schlub, but I have a nice dress watch on, like the whole outfit outside of the watch cost me $100, but then the watch is just complete opposite of that and like really fancy. Something about that I think appeals to me. And, hiking in a nice dress watch just is so goofy that it makes me smile. And that's the only opportunity I have to wear those watches. And I stop myself from buying them a lot because how many dress watches do I need? One, you could argue I need zero, but I like to have one. But I don't know. More and more, those are the watches I'm seeking out on YouTube and doing research on and looking at pictures of and researching on Chrono 24, but they don't have a real, I have zero need for them, but for whatever reason, I love them.
Does your grown get a lot of wrist time?
Not really. No. Last week I wore it a couple times. I like that suede strap it's on. So I think now when the weather cools off a little bit, I will wear it more.
Okay.
So my strategy is during the football season, I'm going to wear the Breitling Lions watch every Sunday. And then if the Lions win, I'm going to wear it all week long till the next game. But if they lose, I'm going to wear one of my other watches for the week and then wear the Breitling again for the next Lions game. So that's my season strategy. So when the weather cools off, I will definitely wear the Corona a little bit more.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. All right. I think that's my guilty pleasures. What's next for you?
Yeah, well, I actually have a guilty pleasure pick as well. The artist I'll start with first. This artist actually is about to go play some shows. They're doing a residency in Las Vegas. I don't think they've played shows for many, many years. The artist, Ashley Simpson.
Oh.
So if you were around, if you're my age, you remember the first Ashley Simpson album coming out. The name is escaping me of the album right now, but it sold like 5 million copies. It was pretty popular. But, when someone listening to punk music and stuff like that, it wasn't cool to like Ashley Simpson. But there's no doubting some of those songs on that album are bangers. And so I'm going to pick a song called Surrender, which is not one of the singles. So sorry for people who don't know this song, but it's just a jam. Like it's really good pop song, and there's no two ways about it. For me, it is leading into to describe the watch. To me, a guilty pleasure is mostly pleasure, some guilt.
Yeah.
So, like for example, I'm going to be negative for a little bit here, but like a San Martin, I think it's mostly guilt with some pleasure. You know, that doesn't count. That's you question why you bought it. Maybe you enjoy opening it and wearing it for a little, and then it's just like, why did I spend my money on this?
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. But so this song is mostly pleasure, some guilt. So I'm picking for the watch the Tag Solograph Aqua Racer. These days Tag, not the coolest brand to own, although I think they're turning that around with some releases.
I agree.
It's quartz on top of it, not the coolest, movement that you could get these days. It's a little guilty pleasurous. And for me, not the most stylish watch. I think it's a very cool looking watch. I would almost say badass looking watch, but stylish it is not. It's sandblasted. The case is, and it's just not. When you think of a stylish watch, it's not a watch that comes to mind. So there's some guilt along with this watch, but there's no doubting that it's a badass watch. It's a great watch. I tried it on again recently, and yeah, it's great. I think they really did a good job with it. I like the pop of the blue second sand, and there's the texture black dial, which looks kind of like dark gray to me. So overall, yeah, great package they put together with that watch there. But that's my guilty pleasure pick.
Yeah, I like your guilty pleasure. I don't feel too guilty about wearing a dress watch. So I will add one on. So earlier this summer, I met with my other friend, John, and he wants a field watch, but he's afraid to spend money on watches. I've talked about him on the podcast before. Jody from Just One More Watch had just done a video on the Militato AliExpress watch. It's basically looks like a Hamilton or other brands did that design as well during World War II. The Bulova hack. So I guess it's not limited to Hamilton, but most people associate it with Hamilton. And it was, I think, under $50 for a field watch with a really decent NATO strap and sapphire glass crystal for under $50. And my friend John had mentioned he really wanted a Veyor, and I said, you know what, I'm going to buy him this Militato because it's cheap and it'd be a nice thing to do. And I'm not sure how waterproof. It's screw down crown. It's Seiko Mecha Quartz, 100 meters water resistant. But they tell you in the directions, don't take it swimming, even though it's 100 meters water resistant. So he swims every day. So I gave him the watch. Well, I got the watch and I was like, holy crap, this is nice. And for a while, I was like, I kind of want to keep this. What's wrong with me? I did feel definitely guilty about it. Yeah. And then I gave it to him. And so much so I bought another one. And I have it. I still have it. I'm going to give it to another friend, but I'm keeping it for a while before I give it to Jeff. So My friend Jeff is getting the other Militato, but it's still in my watch box, and I've worn it a couple times. I don't really. It's one of those things I don't really wear, and I feel very guilty about it. But I've just. It's a gift, but it's going to get a little wear before I pass it on. So yeah, I guess that would be my even more guilty pleasure.
Yeah, so I have a Hamilton watch, and it's not getting worn, so it's like there's no purpose in keeping it. But I can't find anyone who actually like. I've been trying to give it to someone like, hey, might get him into watches. That's the watch that got me into watches.
Give it to your coworker. Do you like him enough to give him a watch like that?
Yeah, that could be a possibility for sure.
Will that help you get a promotion?
No, it's not technically a coworker.
Oh, okay.
It's like one of our vendors.
Oh,
it's like my main contact at one of our vendors, who I do talk to, every day.
Okay.
But so it still counts, and I still work with them technically, But yeah, no one wants to wind a manual wind watch. So
I'll be honest with you, I don't really enjoy it.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because I'm very big on just how Crown feel, and I don't think a lot of them feel all that good. So
yeah, I think the Crown's big enough, and the feel. I like the clicking of the winding. It's a pretty good one. I don't know if I've even had other manual wind watches, solely that aren't automatic. So I don't know if I can't really compare that much. But yeah, I loved it when I first got it. I thought it was the coolest thing ever that I got to wind this watch every day.
Yeah. All right. So I guess it's a nice segue into my next one. The category, an icon I just can't get into very much. And there's a singer who everybody seems to love his voice except for me, Van Morrison. Brown Eyed Girl. He's a legend. Tupelo Honey. He got so many songs. I think his voice sounds like Bobcat Goldthwait. I think it's like
okay, it's not that bad.
I freaking hate his voice. My wife loves him. My mom, Into the Mystic, she cries when she hears that song. She loves Van Morrison. Marissa's brother and his wife, their song for their wedding was Van Morrison. I don't know. There's nothing romantic about that guy. Blah, blah, blah. His voice sounds horrible to me. So it's an icon. I'm not going to say he's bad or stinks because we're all different. Music is, outside of watches, I think music is even more subjective. Something that sounds amazing to your ears could sound horrible to mine. But that's the beauty of it. We all like different things. So, and then a watch I pick on a lot, an icon I can't get into, the Speedmaster. I owned it. When you do one full wind, it'll come back half a wind. The crown is small. It's just very frustrating. Every time I bring it up to people who love the Speedmaster, they say, yeah, you know what? The winding isn't very good. It was just a letdown of a watch to me. And I think because I'm not into or invested in the Moonwatch story, I can put up with a lot if I'm into the story, into the backstory. Like I like Seiko. So even the SNR 045, is the bezel aligned 100%? No. But I like the watch enough where that doesn't really bother me. With the Speedmaster, I wasn't sure I wanted it, but I fell into that thing. Every collector at a certain point should experience a moon watch. And I did, and it was on thin ice the moment I got it because I was never really into it, quite frankly. And so I was kind of just looking for reasons to not like it, and I found them. The bracelet was sharp, the edges, the case edges. To me, it was just a real letdown, but I certainly understand why it's an icon, and I guess I understand why Van Morrison's an icon. He's got great songs. If you like his voice, which a lot of people seem to, I seem to be in the minority. I'm the only person I think that ever said they hate his voice. I don't know. Everyone thinks I'm crazy for not liking it. But yeah, a couple of icons I just cannot really get into.
You know who I always see wear a Speedmaster is Mark Maron. I don't know. He's been making the rounds lately because he came out with a special and he's ending his podcast.
Oh, is he?
So yeah, that's ending this fall. And I always appreciate, he's been successful with the podcast, especially, and, over the years. And I love when people wear the same watch all the time.
Yeah.
and he definitely wears that Speedmaster all the time.
That's cool.
So
That's cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool to see. I will say I've been to an Omega AD a million times. At this point, I've never asked to try one on because I have no interest. I probably should just to do it, but
Right.
yeah, it just doesn't. I mean, I'm also not a huge chronograph guy either. But yeah, I understand.
Yeah, I think it's just not my style. It's a little too classic. Also, so it's just never appealed to me. Nothing really has ever appealed about it. And then I feel like Omega has kind of done it to death, actually, with all the different editions. They don't really do limited editions anymore. I think that's not really true. They haven't done limited editions all that much. But they have special editions. They have the Snoopy stuff and a million different iterations of it.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily limited, but there's many
Right.
different iterations of it, and I don't know. It's just, to me, it's almost like it could be in that played out category as well. But having owned it, I didn't get it personally. I didn't get the attraction, but I know it's an icon, obviously, because it was on the moon and so many people feel a connection to that and love that. So I get it. It's just not an icon to me, I guess.
Understandable. Yeah. So my next pick is an artist I just came across. I didn't know who they were. The YouTube algorithm said, Keith, I think you're going to like this video. I played it and I said, oh, this is really good. And so found it was interesting that this artist had just released a debut album, like within the last month, let's say, and they're getting a lot of listens already. I think the biggest song on Spotify has maybe 25 million listens. So I said, how did someone just release their debut album, even if you have the greatest song and a label behind you, how is it that it immediately takes off? And it's because this artist, Aubrey Hobart, is a co-writer of Gracie Abrams. So she co-wrote like half of Gracie Abrams' newest album. So she had a name behind her already. So I listened to some of her music and it's really good. It's like it's similar to Gracie Abrams. It's like, pop songs. Really love the lyrics. I think she's very unique, especially with her lyric writing. Her biggest song right now is called Sue Me. My favorite is a song called Phoebe and a song called Thirst Trap. But it was just cool. It's just cool to stumble upon. I try and keep up a little bit with newer artists. I try and listen to newer songs. I'm not always great at doing that because I, tend to fall back into the songs I really love and already know. But yeah, it's kind of like a new artist that took me by surprise. So I'm thinking, what watch brand within the last 5 years? So like micro brands had a big explosion in like it's 2017, 2018, 2016, around there. If I think of like 2020 to 2025, what's a brand I could turn to that's new, that's doing something interesting? And keep in mind, like I said before, I'm not really into like the high-end independents. Maybe there's one that came out. If there is, I'm sorry, I don't know. But this is more of a like a micro brand type space, and really and I'm sure I'm missing something, but the one I could think of right now, I don't know if you've heard of Wren watches.
Yes,
WREN.
I
So
have.
it's this guy who has a YouTube channel called The Wrist Enthusiast. I guess he's enthusiastic about wrists and not watches. I
Yeah.
don't really get the name. I
Weird
don't get the
fetish.
name, but yeah. So he has this YouTube channel. I haven't seen it much. I know he had Kevin O'Leary on early on, but
He has a podcast too, right? He's on a podcast with a couple other guys, I think.
yeah, I think Wrist Enthusiast might be in the name because
Okay.
they post the video of that podcast on that channel. I was looking at it
Yeah.
earlier. But yeah, so the Wrist Enthusiast, basically YouTube channel guy from the YouTube channel, has come out with Wren watches, and it's kind of like, like the Wrist Enthusiast is selling it almost. That's what I get.
Yeah.
But anyways, if you look at the watch, they look pretty cool. So they came out with their first watch like a year ago. It was like $900. It has a Swiss movement. I believe it's considered Swiss made. And they made 100 of them. It was like this blue green dial, 41
It's
millimeter
a nice
diver.
color.
Yeah, yeah. It was really cool looking dial. That's kind of like what drew me to it in the first place. Those sold out, and now here we are a year later. They're coming out with two. They've announced it's that same blue green dial in a 38 millimeter, and then this other like light green mint dial almost.
Mm-hmm.
And that's on pre-order right now. It's interesting. The original 41 millimeter from a year ago was like $900, and this new one's like $1,600.
Yeah, the price jump.
Yeah, it's huge price jump. They must be accounting for tariffs. They're also switching from Solida to ETA movements. I can't imagine that's that big of a price difference. So I'm not really sure what's causing the price difference. Maybe they wanted it the first one to sell out, so they priced it lower. I would say it's more in the Oak and Oscar pricing territory, I guess. But yeah, they're really cool looking watches. They actually just announced, I came across it like a day or two ago. They're doing a collab with Ben's Watches, which is one of the dudes that's on the podcast. It's kind of a downer to have a watch brand associated with YouTube.
Yeah.
It kind of cheapens the brand a little bit. Like, for example, when like TGV does like a Laurier collaboration, it's like I don't really want a YouTuber logo on my watch. But the watch itself looks cool. I would love to see it in person at some point. Don't know if that'll ever happen. But yeah, the dial is really striking, and he does seem to be. I've watched some videos of him talking about it. He does seem to be into the details, like getting this stuff right that watch enthusiasts like without checking boxes. I don't like brands that just check boxes, but it just seems like they're taking a lot of care, especially even with the second release. Yeah, that's. Can you think of any other watch brands that have come out with like the last 5 years?
A new one I have is the Gruna, which is the affordable option from the Grunfeld brothers. If I did that category, that's the one I would pick.
Okay.
I've never heard of Gracie Abrams, which again, I'm an old person.
Oh, okay.
I've never, when you said she's well known from Gracie Abrams, like, make that two people I've never heard of.
Yeah. So Gracie Abrams, she actually just played Lollapalooza with a large crowd. Sabrina Carpenter and Gracie Abrams, they've both been blessed by the T Swift audience because Taylor Swift has brought them on tour.
Okay.
I feel like most of the artists that Taylor Swift brings on tour start to really blow up, which is interesting because Muna hasn't really blown up, and that's a band I like that Taylor Swift has brought on tour. But anyways, yeah, they're both kind of Taylor Swift related. So music sounds somewhat in that genre. But yeah, Gracie Abrams had a really big hit. I'm not going to sing it, and I can't think of the name, that this Aubrey Hobart co-wrote and sang backup on. Yeah, it's tough to keep. I mean, there's so many new artists. I mean,
yeah,
there's only so much time in the day,
I don't even listen to music that much. I listen to podcasts more or audiobooks or watch YouTube. Like if I seek out music, it's, boy, I want to listen to Ozzy today, or I want to listen to this today. I'm not in a place where I discover new music, and I'm not really around young people. I'm not around kids. So I know like parents oftentimes are hip to what's going on because their kid, they listen to what their kids are into. So like my buddy Mario, I think he just loves Taylor Swift, but his kids are into it too. But I know he's a big Taylor Swift fan, and I always make fun of him that Sabrina Carpenter is way better. But no, he loves Taylor Swift, and I like some of her stuff too. She's got some good songs for sure.
Yeah, I got into Taylor Swift with the album 1989, which is probably still my favorite T Swift album.
Yep.
I'm really looking forward to this new one that she announced, because her co-writers and producers are some of the same people she worked with on like my favorite Taylor Swift albums, like 1989 and Reputation.
Gotcha.
So I'm looking forward to that. That's coming out next month. So you're saying when you're driving around with the dogs in the van, you don't have music playing when you're going to pick up dogs and stuff?
No, it's mostly podcasts or books.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I listen to a lot of different podcasts about things, some true crime, fantasy football now. Listen to a lot of that stuff, watches. And then, audiobooks, fiction, nonfiction, a lot of Stephen King, A lot of different things. And then I have YouTube playing. I have YouTube Premium, so I can just put videos going, like live stream fantasy football live streams or watch videos and just turn the screen off, but have the sound playing. So
Right.
yeah,
I do the same.
YouTube Premium's pretty awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
If I had to get rid of all my streaming services, that would be the last one I would get rid of.
Right. I think it's really good. All right, so I guess my next one here, one hit wonder. And I don't know if it's fair to call these guys or this band a one hit wonder, but it's one of my favorite songs of all time. I've been listening to this song ever since it came out. I loved it when it came out. I know they do have other songs, but I think if you were to ask people to name 5 songs from this band, you couldn't. They would only name this one. The band is Living Color, and the song is A Cult of Personality. It's a theme song of one of your favorite wrestlers, I think, CM Punk.
I know that well.
Yep. I have always loved that song. I remember I had that tape. Oh, gosh, what's the album called? Why can't I think of it right now? But there's like Ode to a Landlord, Glamour Boys. There's a lot of great songs on there, but none of them are as hard-edged as Cult of Personality. Just such a great riff. Vernon Reed's guitar solo. I love that song. I think that is probably one of my top 10 songs of all time. I never get sick of it. It's never played out. I could listen to it all day, every day, and still love it. I don't know what it is about that song. I love it. I love it. A one-hit wonder watch, and I guess I would go for the vintage because I owned the modern interpretation, the Ulster Nauticaff, which was the Jaws watch. Nobody really knows anything else from Ulster, and they do have some other watches. They're back now, but even back in the day, they had some other watches. But the Nauticaff is known as the Jaws watch. So whenever you think of Ulster, I don't know if you know this at all, but
I don't.
It's the Jaws watch. And I bought one when they were reissued 5 years ago, I think. The modern interpretation was not very good. It was a chunky watch. The bezel action was horrible. It was $1,000 and it had a Seiko NH movement. The bracelet was pretty good. The bracelet is actually like has hollow links. So and that's if you watch Jaws, which you just did recently, Richard Dreyfuss's wrist, you could see that watch. It looks so good in that movie. And I've always loved that movie. And then when I got into watches, I did some movie watch research and I was like, oh, he's wearing an Ulster. So I was super excited when that watch came out. So yeah, they're the one hit wonder. I think if I were to try to buy another one, I would go for a good vintage example. If I saw an original in really good condition, I think I'd go for it.
Going back to the song really quick, my nephews have got really into wrestling. So it's so cute. My 3-year-old nephew sings A Cult of Personality because it's CM Punk's entrance and it's
like Mussolini.
That's cool.
It's such a good song. When they played him out live, that was like a dream come true for me. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah.
And I don't even really love CM Punk, but he's got good taste in music anyway.
Yeah, I think he's actually been at the same Alkaline Trio show I've been to at least once.
Oh, cool.
Because, seeing him in Chicago,
Yeah.
seeing a punk band in Chicago, you're bound to run into CM Punk at some point. So
Cool. That's cool.
I'll go through my last one real quick. I'll just finish it out. A popular band, a popular song, yet I don't get sick of it. Blink-182's I Miss You. I could hear that song a million times.
That's a good song.
It's a great song. I love the band. And the watch I'm relating to it, the SPB, the Seiko SPB 143. It's a watch that we've heard about a million times. It's a watch I own. I don't get sick of it. It's a great hit by a great brand. And I'll end my list with that.
Yeah, I like that. I guess Cult of Personality could fit like that for me too. I just never get sick of that song. Never get sick of that song. All right, so yeah, underrated is the last category I went. There are a couple bands. One was involved in that new wave of British heavy metal, late 70s, early 80s. UFO. They're a highly influential band, but they're rarely played on terrestrial radio. They have great songs, Lights Out, Doctor, Doctor, which actually, if you ever see Iron Maiden live, that is the song they play on the speakers, like how Metallica plays AC/DC. Iron Maiden plays Doctor, Doctor by UFO before they come out. Michael Schenker is an epic guitar player. one of Kirk Hammett's idols. So they're one of those bands that nobody really knows, but if you dive into a song called Lights Out, that's where I'd start. The last bit of the song is a guitar solo, and it is like face melting. It's so cool. It's so good. And then another band, Thin Lizzy, which also influenced many of those classic bands. We all know like Jailbreak and The Boys Are Back in Town, but there's a song called Cold Sweat that I would definitely check out. Megadeth even did a cover on it, and I can't remember which album, maybe like 10 years ago. They covered that song on one of their albums. That's a really good version, but Thin Lizzy's version is just awesome. So yeah, a couple underrated brands. My underrated watch is the watch I'm wearing, the SNR 045, and expensive Seikos. I think a lot of people pan a brand like Seiko for having the gall to charge $6,000 for a watch, but it does have spring drive. It does have Grand Seiko level finishing. I think these watches are done in the Grand Seiko studio. Even the SLA 023, all the SLA models. Watch Jeff McMahon. He waxes poetic about them all the time, right? These watches compare, I think, with the Tudor Black Bay and other Tudor models. I think the SMP, I'd rather own this SNR than an SMP, and I think they're very comparable. Now, people will laugh when I say that, but if you had them in hand, Seiko does a bad job, I think, with marketing them. They're not available in a lot of stores for people to check out. So people just see it online and say, no way in hell would I ever pay that much for a Seiko, even $3,000 to $4,000. But for the people who get a chance to handle them and see them, I think they're impressed. So I think they're underrated gems that hopefully one day get their due.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
And hopefully they still focus on those SLA and SNR models. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Hopefully they come up with some smaller ones at some point, instead of just one. Or I guess that wasn't an SLA, but yeah, all those SLA, at least SLA models that I like are all just too big for me, and it seems like it's the same for that. So
yeah. I think you'd be surprised. Hopefully we get to meet up one day in person and you can try this watch on. I think you'd be kind of shocked how it wears, actually.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to trying it. Hopefully one day.
All right. Well, I hope that was fun. It was we had two different ideas of what this topic actually was, but I think it was fun for us to do anyway. So, all right. So I guess that's it. I have another fun guest for you next week. I have like 4 good guests in a row coming up. So they're all old familiar faces, familiar voices, I guess I should say. And then, like I said last week, a new guest who reached out to me and is going to be on. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun for everybody. Great stories, really cool job that this person has, and also has interest in watches. So I'm so excited to talk to them. Anything else you want to add, Keith, before we end?
I'm good.
All right. Well, thank you so much for listening. Keith, again, thank you so much for your time. Wish I could pay you, but I'll buy you a Militato. How about that? I'll buy you one of those.
Sure.
I'll send you the one I've been wearing. All right. Well, thank you so much. We'll see you on the next episode. And remember, sometimes you're the dog, sometimes you're the hydrant, but hey, at least you're outside. Talk to you soon. Take care. See you later.